Hello, this is a presentation brought to you on discussion cards, a therapeutic tool for children of divorce, a presentation by Angela Parslow. Many parents discuss and seem to be concerned with the outcome that their divorce will have on their children. Intuitively, two people who were once joined together in marital union know that raising children together is better than as singles. Wendy Paris, who is the author of the article, Yes, You Can Raise Happy Children After Divorce, shares when we first started talking about splitting up, her child was the main reason I told myself I just couldn't do it. While I believed he'd be fine, I also suspected he'd be more fine if we were in a happy, intact marriage. However, sometimes divorce is inevitable and should not be avoided simply for keeping the family together. Many children are referred to therapy to help them to adjust to divorce. They typically feel vulnerable and overwhelmed by conflicting emotions. They may feel anxious about the therapeutic process and be reluctant to talk directly about the divorce. So what are some feelings children of divorced families often experience? Perhaps they may feel sad, scared, or at worst abandoned. Maybe even worried, angry, guilty, shameful, embarrassed, or, quite frankly, they might even be relieved. And what are some of the reasons that those parents are divorcing? Maybe they were fighting a lot and just couldn't make up, or couldn't quite fix their problems, or they weren't happy being together anymore, fell in love with someone else, or just stopped being in love. What are some of the reasons why children may blame themselves for their parents' divorce? They may think that their parents argue and that's why they got divorced. Or they may think that they should have done something to make their parents stay together. But divorce is never a child's fault, and quite often in therapy, they will need to be reminded of this frequently. A central goal in therapy is to help children develop awareness of internal emotional states and to be able to appropriately label what it is that they are feeling. Hence, the use of discussion cards. Activities that are creative and play-based can engage children and help them to safely express their thoughts and feelings. Discussion cards can help break the ice and can give the child help for expressing their emotions. They can help a child acknowledge what they are and are not responsible for in the situation. They can assist the child in discovering their role in their home life. They can initiate conversation about what really is happening in their current living situations. Here's an example of two sets of discussion cards that could be used in a therapeutic setting. On the left are examples of feelings of grief and loss cards, and on the right are examples of changing roles and responsibilities cards, both of which are sets of emotions that will most likely be felt by the child who is experiencing a divorce situation. Some of the ones that stood out to me the most are, what is something about your parents' divorce that makes you feel so sad? Or, what is something about your parents' divorce that makes you feel angry? Or, do you have any new chores since your parents split up? Is one of your parents acting more like your friend since the divorce? Obviously, these are questions that could help alleviate some of the stress in the interaction, most likely, obviously, being experienced on the client's perspective. But these cards can be used to initiate the conversation and alleviate the stress. And you could even begin by allowing the child to choose their own questions from a stack of cards given to them. Leanna Lowenstein, MSW, shares in an article titled Creative Interventions for Children of Divorce In order to effectively treat children of divorce, a number of key issues need to be addressed, including developing effective coping skills, facilitating the appropriate expression of feelings, clarifying divorce-related misconceptions, expressing anger through appropriate outlets, disengaging from parental conflict, eliminating self-blame for the divorce, and enhancing positive perceptions of self. Again, we have a few example discussion cards from top left, going clockwise. My parents got divorced because, or the changes in my family makes me feel, or if my parents didn't get a divorce. And lastly, now that my parents are divorced, I worry that. And on the right, there's a kind of postcard theme where if the child feels comfortable and is of age where he can actually read and write in order to interpret his emotions, he could maybe take these home or fill these cards out and actually write out the answers right there in the therapeutic setting, or opt for taking them home. Or lastly, he could opt for verbalizing these answers to keep things more personal. Quite often, a child will complain that he feels stuck in the middle between his mom and dad in the divorce situation. Here's an example of 6 cards that could be used for initiating conversation for the child who is experiencing those emotions. In conclusion, children may be more apt to benefit from counseling if they are engaged and immersing their imaginations. Using discussion cards may help to spark the conversation and address the child's needs for a successful treatment outcome. Thanks for listening.